Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof. We have a fantastic day of racing ahead of us with York and Newmarket, which of course stages the Cesaric, not the Cambridgeshire Michael Andrews, who is not here, but two people that are here with me, Callum Liddell, or Time was Callum Liddell, sorry, and Adam Webb. Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening.
Thought Callum muted himself then. Good day of racing ahead of us.
Lots of competitive handicaps, and if you enjoy that type of thing, then yes.
Yeah,
and also
more
the return of the jumps at Chepstow as well.
Yes, yeah, we might get into that a bit later on. However many of you want us to sort of delve into that. Last week was a successful video for Saturday, I'd say.
Yeah, very. And then Sunday was a complete polar opposite. Oh dear.
Longchamp did not go well. We will say that.
All
yeah,
right.
I think that's best.
We tipped. What did we tip? We tipped nothing.
I tipped hijinks.
I tipped we are.
Hijinks.
Territories each way I'll go with.
Yeah, not disgraceful.
I said Flintshire would be
92.
I said that Flintshire would be second in the arc. Didn't think that the winner who actually won it would do what she did, but she was incredible, wasn't she?
We got that bit wrong.
As always, Saturday we cleaned up Saturday, so.
We always get Saturdays down to a T.
Yeah.
There's big boots to fill now. But as always on the Hoof, we are a family show. Said nobody. We're not a family show at all, but we would love to hear from you. We always read out every single tweet that you send in and every single question. If it's a question about tomorrow's racing, we will read it out at the end of the video. So you can tweet us at OnTheOtherHoof and you can put your opinion across. We'll laugh at it. You can laugh at us. We'll laugh at Adam. Everyone will laugh at Adam. That is pretty much how the show goes, if you haven't seen it before. But we'll move on to the first race, which is the 150 at York, sportingbet.com stakes, which is a handicap over a mile, 208 yards. We were talking about this before we came on air, and out of the 11, independently, we picked out the same two. Adam, I'm going to start with you first.
Okay, well, the two that we picked out were Indy and Lacan, and I've gone with the latter, who has got some good form in the book. I mean, was second on debut to GM Hopkins before being second to Wannabe Yours, who's considered a Group 1 horse. Then won at Nottingham before running okay, I'd say, in the Silver Cambridgeshire behind GM Hopkins again. I think back on softer ground will help him, and I think he could have also potentially needed that because he was coming off a break. So I think the two that I'd be siding with in the race of M2, but I'd give preference to Lacan, even though Indy is respected.
Yeah, I'm siding with Lacan as well. Indy is also respected, as Adam says. Indy is also in the sales, coming up the horse and training sales at the end of this month, I believe. So if he doesn't win this time, then watch out next time if there is another run for David Barron from Indy. But Lacan is the one that I'm going to side with. As Adam mentioned, came off the back of a break in the Silver Cambridgeshire. Never really travelled early on, which was a bit disappointing for me. But it could just be that race came a bit too early for him. He only had 3 runs leading into that. And was it a 22-runner handicap at Newmarket? It could have just sort of unsettled him a little bit, and he didn't really sort of go through the race with the economy of effort that you'd hope for a horse in that race. However, saying that, he did make a move mid-race and looked like he might play a part in the finish. However, he petered away at the end. So I'd give him another chance for Clive Cox and Adam Kirby, but Indy is definitely the danger to Lacan for me. Callum, can you say anything different against them two?
Well, I mean, seeing as you've gone for Lacan, I'll probably just go for Indy just to be different. But they both stand out. I agree with all your points about Lacan. I think he got a bit of a shock last time out in that massive handicap in Silver Cambridgeshire, but he travelled noticeably well on the rail and just didn't really see his effort off. But I think he's got a really good chance tomorrow in his first time regarding the ground. Indy ran really well behind Master Carpenter. I know Master Carpenter won very easily, but Master Carpenter got an incredible ride that day by Ryan Moore. I know the form in behind is actually quite poor, but Indy could just be a potential blot on the handicap. So it's a weak race for me, and those two stand out quite comfortably. So let's hope for a 1-2.
Yeah, this is happening more and more often that we're sort of getting the same two up.
We're all judges, lads, so.
Price-wise has just come through. We'll do that very quickly before moving on to the next race. Sudden Wonder in the 220 at York. Interesting one. I like this. It's got It's got on the Racing Post website. It's got Sun and Wonder tipped up, and then it has 1 point win at 11 to 1 with Hills, and then underneath it's got the option to back at 9 to 1.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, second one on the list is Min Alemarat in the 310 at Newmarket, 1 point win at 25 to 1. Stetchworth, mine and Callum's friend, 310 at Newmarket. We'll be talking about Stetchworth a bit later on. Renan Mathis in the 330 at York, and the last one, Johnny Delta in the 350 at Newmarket, which is, of course, the Cesarovic in the big race of the day. Moving on to the 205 at Newmarket, the Betfred Goals Galore Autumn Stakes, which is a Group 3 for 2-year-olds, over a mile. Competitive race, this one. You're trying to get the favourite beat, though, Callum, aren't you?
Definitely want to get the favourite beat, Future Empire. I don't think that Solario form is strong at all. And he was impressive on debut, and I know they rate him very highly, so he deserves to be near the head of the market. Form of that Newmarket win is actually very, very good form. But I just think he's there to try and get beat tomorrow. And I think there's just nothing standing out in this race to me. I think there's a horse of Sir Michael Stout's called Mackayam in this. I've followed since his debut. It was really well backed on debut when in a conditions race. It's won twice since a maiden and a nursery, and the form's okay. But this is a massive step up in grade, and I think he's a bit short. Strong chemistry, don't think it's particularly strong. Order of St George won really well last time out in Ireland, probably a very weak race, but he's respected. There's a couple of horses that have come from maidens, and I think just look a touch overpriced. So if you do want to have a bet in it, I would look at firstly Commemorative, who won what looked a very strong Doncaster maiden last time out and won it quite comfortably, and Hell Clodius, who is overlooked by Richard Hughes, but again won it very impressively from a horse that's won twice since. Probably wants softer ground. If it rained tomorrow quite significantly and the ground was on the softer side, I'd definitely have a bit on Hale Clodius around 16s. But on what is likely, I think will probably be around good ground, I think he might just struggle a little bit. So I will go for Commemorative at an attractive price. But if I had to go for anything, but it's not a race I'm going to have a bet in. But have a look at Commemorative.
I have a feeling that'll be a bit of a recurring theme here, because this is not a betting race for me at all tomorrow. Future Empire would be my idea of the winner. It's not a glamorous price whatsoever, around 11 to 4, sorry, not 11 to 1. Maybe 3 to 1 at the biggest price. 11 to 4 is what I can see now. But last time out in the Solario, he just looks like a horse that's going to need a bit of time. He'll have learnt a lot from that run. I thought the same about his debut as well, that he'd come on for that run. He did. Lost out to Actabante just, but needed every yard of it, really, to sort of get anywhere near leader. Is it Lexington Place, yeah?
Hello?
Did we lose Luke then, or was it me?
Am I back?
Yeah.
Right, I'm back. Okay. Did I actually say
That's
anything?
weird.
Then? It went through.
You were mid-sentence, and me and Callum just sat there. I thought my internet had gone.
Yeah, so did I.
I'll take the blame on that one. That's fine. I was saying that Future Empire needed sort of every yard to get near the front in the Solario last time, and needed every yard to sort of catch. It was Lexington Place, wasn't it, in the Solario?
Yeah.
Abbey.
Yeah. So
Is it Place or Abbey? Can't remember. No, it is Place. Yeah. Sorry.
it was Place, yeah.
Yeah.
Confusing the hell out of me now. But he just looks like a horse that's going to come on for each and every run. He came on a lot for his debut, where he won sort of a nice enough race at Newmarket, wasn't it? And then went on, improved in the Solario, but 11 to 4 is not a price I'd be willing to get sort of involved with. I completely get what Callum's saying about Commemorative. That's holds fantastic each way value. Won a really strong Doncaster maiden last time. That form has been boosted all over the place with the likes of Secateur and Game Pie coming out. So Commemorative would be the each way fancy. As far as win purposes go, I can see why Future Empire is ahead of the market, and possibly there's been rumours maybe he might go out to America for the Breeders' Cup. Commemorative each way value, but Future Empire for me for win terms. Adam, your view?
Well, Callum mentioned one that I actually quite liked. If the rain does come, and it's Hale Clodius, who won a Newmarket maiden on the July course, and the further he went that day, the better he looked. And I had him marked down as a handicapper, but obviously they think he's a little bit better than that, so they wouldn't have put him in here. And I can see why Luke's just left now, because his internet is really bad. I quite like Hale Clodius if the rain comes. If the rain doesn't come, then It sounds weird, but I agree with Callum again. Commemorative winning that maiden at Donny. I liked Game Pie, who was fourth that day, and I also like Secateur going forward as well. But it beat them too, because I don't really think Future Empire. Yeah, the Solario's not really a race that I'm going to use in the future as a strong form guy. Strong Chemistry won a maiden at Kempton, and again, like last week, I'm going to make the point that it's his first run on turf, so I don't know what to expect. Order of St George won last time out as well, but I don't know. I'd rather, if the rain comes, I'd probably have a little each way on Hail Clodius.
Yeah, come back just to save the day and capture it. Callum was. I can tell that Callum's lining up his first chance of presenting on the other hoof then.
Yeah, it's taken from me.
I am going to let
Oh,
you, don't worry. This time I am going to let Callum do it, because last week it was me who did it. I was like, oh, Callum's not done it yet. We'll let Callum have a go.
Yeah, well, you'll probably get a chance later to in the video because my internet is crap at the moment. It's as bad as Adam's naps actually, but we go back to York. We go back to York for the next race. Download the Coral app because you can if you want to. It's a handicap over a mile 2 and 88 yards. It's a field of 11, a strong field, but the Godolphin horses are the ones that are being backed. Sudden Wonder, who I just mentioned, was price-wise, and First Flight down at the bottom of the weights, 3-1, and a fairly well-backed favourite. Adam, we'll come to you first on this one.
First Flight is a horse that I really like. I think he wins tomorrow. He has to win if he wants to go out to Meydan over to the Carnival, which I know Calvin is already getting very excited about. His second to Air Pilot, I don't think he'd have beaten Air Pilot last time. Air Pilot was just so well handicapped. And I'll even say, even though he finished second, I still think First Flight was given an interesting ride. He's literally sort of let him hang, which I wouldn't have done, if you get what I mean. It's just, he let the horse hang left, he had the stick in the left hand, and easily, if there had been horses there, he would have taken half the field out. But because he was in front of the field, he got away with it. I think me and Luke liked him in the Acomb last year, not the Acomb as Luke called it. But he was green, and I think, well, he's obviously come on a lot since then, so I don't think the track will pose any problems. The ground shouldn't be an issue either, because he was second last time out on soft ground and was third earlier on in the season on soft ground in that lovely Haydock race behind Chatterhead. So I think First Flight wins. One at a slightly bigger price is Callum's old friend Educate. I think he can run well on a softer surface as well. So First Flight is your likely winner.
Yeah, you've been reading my blog, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Feeling
No.
the Meydan bits.
But it's obvious that with his mark, they want to get him into at least a low 100 so they can get him in Meydan handicaps.
In fairness, I think he'd be a kind of horse that would thrive in Meydan. He's gone well on soft ground, as Adam mentioned, but he's gone well on fast ground as well. He won on Good to Firm, I think it was. Last time out, though, he ran a really nice race at Newmarket. Newbury, when not given the best of rides, I don't think, by Richard Hughes. And he bumped into Air Pilot, who is really well handicapped. But whether he would have actually got to Air Pilot with a sort of more forceful ride, I'm not 100% sure, because, as we say, Air Pilot was so well handicapped. But he seemed a horse for me that's been a group horse all over, but it just hasn't really clicked with him yet. £2 higher than last time. I think if he doesn't win tomorrow, then he's sort of cocked up his campaign for him, because next year he's going to have to go into group races, and I think he'd more than hold his own group races, but he also wants to sort of book himself on the plane out to Meydan, and really he has to win here to sort of secure that place. Maybe they might get time for one more run, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So tomorrow, First Flight really has to win. Jockey booking with Paul Mulrennan is, I think, a positive one. He's been riding pretty well in the last few weeks with the likes of Mecca's Angel, so I don't see any problems in that. I just hope they're a bit more forceful with First Flight tomorrow, and they've got Sudden Wonder who will probably make the pace, so I can see everything falling into First Flight's lap tomorrow, and I'd almost be mortified.
Callum, it's your turn to host on The Other Hoof. Congratulations.
Oh no, he's gone. He's gone.
You're asking yourself the question of what's going to win.
So Callum, who do you think is going to win the 220 at York? Yeah, I agree. I agree with the sentiments of you guys. I think First Flight has to have a massive chance in this. No, it's pretty boring, but this doesn't look a particularly strong race. It certainly looks weaker than the race. Both races he's contested the last twice over 10 furlongs, and at Newmarket actually. He's actually only up £1 because he raced off £1 in an early closing race at Newbury, so he's only up a pound. And I don't see what any real danger is going to be. There's not many. I don't think there's any really well handicapped horse in this race at all. Educate, I think, is way too high at the weight. So no, Ahmed Al Sabusi takes off 7, but he's desperately weak jockey, so I couldn't have him at all. And Soviet Rock, possibly a fairly consistent horse, but he just looks an absolute blot in this race, and I can't see past him. So we'll move on to the next race, and this is new territory because this is the first race I'm ever going to host. It's a 19-runner fillies listed race. That's a pretty tough start as well. It's the Betfred Mobile Pride Stakes. Now, a big field. We have Provenance as favourite at the moment for Sir Michael Stout. Ran well last time out behind Etab. Adam, do you fancy Provenance tomorrow?
Step Up in Trip will definitely help. You're doing a good job, by the way. Step Up in Trip, I think, will help her, but if the rain comes, then I'd be against her. And I said before the video I wouldn't, but I'm going to have to. I think Blue Waltz won really nicely at Doncaster last time out, and I think softer ground won't inconvenience her as well, because she's won on soft at Newbury. Richard Hughes takes the ride, and I just think she's one of these improvers. A bit like Silk Sari in the sense that she improved so much. I can see Blue Waltz going the same way next season as well. So it'd be Blue Waltz for me in a race that I wouldn't have a bet in, because it's just it's not a race that fillies races aren't exactly something that I spend lots of time looking at, but basically look towards the head of the market. I would be against Al Bashara because she's just such a tricky character. You'd want her to actually go into the stalls and actually come out the stalls before you. Should be one that you'd rather back in running. But yeah, I'd go with Blue Waltz.
Yeah, see, it's quite a tough race, isn't it? You can give a lot of chances to, and nothing has really stood out as being more than listed class at the moment. And also considering Blue Waltz has Richard Hughes, and Richard Hughes has a really good book of rides tomorrow at Newmarket, do we think?
Yeah.
There's some really some absolute standout chances in that tomorrow, including the favourite Zazarich, but we'll get to that in a second. My fancy is I'm actually going to go for Toast of the Town here for John Gosden, a big favourite of mine. She's taking a long time to break her maiden, but she did last time out in what was a very weak race at Wolverhampton, admittedly, but it could have given her a real confidence booster. Return to this triple suit. She's fine on the ground. She's actually finished second to Marsh Daisy. I know Luke fancies in this race on good to soft ground at Ascot back in May. But she's actually given that horse a stone that day. I know Marsh Daisy's probably improved since, and likewise has a pretty good chance in this on softer ground. She ran quite well last time out, and Provenance as well, who should be okay at the trip. I was a little bit disappointed with that effort at Newmarket. I did expect her to win, but in hindsight, it was probably a stronger race than I thought. So she goes in there with a favourites chance, and also Alva Shara, who's top on time form ratings. I thought I'd get the plug in there first. Ran a good race last time out, and is sure to go well. But you could give her lots of chances in this. Some informed fillies, a lot of them can improve a good stone in this race. So I'd have a look at quite a few of them if you're going to have a bet. But we're moving back onto York, very different ground, soft ground for the Coral.co.uk Rockingham Stakes. Now, I don't think this is a particularly strong race. I don't know what you think, Adam, but we have Fanciful Angel as the favourite horse that I was a fan of early in the season. Ran well last time out at Kempton. Is Fanciful Angel the one for you, or do you fancy anything else in the race?
I'm going away from Fanciful Angel. The two that I do like in the race, but I'm going to put one up. I like Bond's Girl, who won the Doncaster sales race. She was such a cheap purchase, and she went and won a lot of money that day. So she was a shrewd purchase for her owners. But the one I'm going to go with is the runner-up from the 2-year-old trophy last week in Matmu, he bumped into one is a bit of an understatement when you've got a horse like Lamato who didn't come off the bridle. Matmu ran really well that day, and he deserves his big 2-year-old win, and I'm hoping that it will be tomorrow. Yeah, Matmu would be the one for me here.
Yeah, we have two horses that have done really well in the sales races of late. Bond's Girl as well, who won the Doncaster sales race, which Matmu also placed in. So that's pretty strong form. Fanciful Angel maybe just come into hand and So it has taken a while to do so, but he's the best on ratings, and for me, I think he's probably the one to beat tomorrow. He has got the ground to prove. He's unproven on anything slower than good to firm so far, but he did seem to enjoy the poly track last time out, and maybe he doesn't really want good to firm ground. He has been on very fast ground all season, so if he runs to that sort of form this time in what is definitely a weaker race than the one that he finished fourth into Burnt Sugar, then I'm sure he's going to have a favourites chance. Also, Tarentum Star's interesting, a horse that I've rated for quite a while now, and caused a bit of surprise last time out, to be honest, when he won at Haydock, and he won that really well, that decent handicap, so he's worth a try in this sort of race and is going the right way. So Kevin Reinhorse is always respected at York, so it's going to be an interesting little race, but we'll move on to a much tougher, I would say much tougher, Betfred TV Stakes. Now, this is a new race, Heritage Handicap, the first running of it, over 12 furlongs, and I think it's going to take a group horse tomorrow to win this. Now, Battersea has won impressively the last twice at Ascot. Hopefully doesn't have any rain to hinder his chances tomorrow, but Adam, I think you're a fan of Battersea tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, that win last time at Ascot just was class, and as you rightly said, I think you need a group horse to win this, and I think there are a couple of group horses in this. Battersea is your obvious one, and I think he's your likely winner. I know you're a fan of Connecticut, and I thought he ran really well off top weight in the Melrose last time out behind Vont the Force, who then came out and ran really well last week in the group race in France. Hooray! Our host is back. Callum has done an excellent job while you've been gone. What else? Michael's Lucky 15 horse Top Tugs in here, stepping up in trip with Ramor in the saddle. If the rain does come, and if the rain comes and Battersea is an on-runner, then give Epsom Hill another go, because I thought he ran really well against his elders last time out at Haydock, and the ground had come right for him. I mean, a lot of people were saying that with the going description it hadn't come right for him, but I think the going description was good to soft in place. It was definitely not that if Epsom Hill's running into a place in a big handicap like that. So if the rain doesn't come, Battersea's your winner. If the rain does come, then I really like Epsom Hill.
Who's presented now? Is it your turn?
You guys have gone really far.
Yeah.
I didn't quite realise I was gone that long.
Yeah, you were. We've covered 2 races, so.
Well,
and he did really well. I've got to say, he's a good host.
I have to watch it back later on. I apologise that you guys watching at home have been left with these two muppets talking along, but where did I cut out on? Was I
mid-sentence that first flight, and then Callum took over. We've done the 2-year-old races.
I'll summarise first flight for you. It's an absolute good thing and wins. I can't be bothered to talk about that again. The 240 at Newmarket. I assume Callum mentioned that I like Marsh Daisy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that Marsh Daisy's form last time out, it was a stronger kind of race. Grandeur and Dana maybe ran a bit more like their former selves. So in hindsight, with ground that is probably too fast for Marsh Daisy, it's a decent run. Doesn't stay a mile and a half, so drop back to a mile 2. She will have to step up again and actually build on what she showed earlier on in the season. But I still think back against her own sex, I think she could still have a few a bit of leniency in her mark of, I think it's 102. I think she's a better horse than that. So 10 to 1, 11 to 1, I think it's a decent price about it tomorrow. I'm going to leave the Rockingham alone. I'm not going to put a bet in that just to help the fluency of the race go through. And Battersea, I'm with in the big handicap. I believe we all are tipping Battersea though.
Yeah, I haven't really spoken about the race yet, so.
Oh, we haven't really. Oh, okay, right. Sorry.
So you've stolen my thunder. Yeah, I can't really work out what the ground's going to be at Newmarket tomorrow. I know it's fishy good at the moment, but there is a little bit of rain about. If it was softer, I would be a little bit put off by Battersea because he's such a good moving horse and will need decent ground like he's got at Ascot the last twice. But he's extremely well bred and has won so impressively at Ascot the last twice. So he's got a great chance. If the ground was soft, I'd be very sweet on the filly Rawaya, who really does need it soft, and she won extremely well last time out 3 weeks ago over course and distance from the front. She's a really nice filly and is very much respected. Connecticut respected, maybe a little bit too high in the weights at this stage, but he's going to be a lovely 4-year-old. Famous Kid is another one I think is going to make a really nice horse in the future, and won well 2 weeks ago at Newmarket. Epsom Hill wants softer ground, but again has got a win in him. There's one at a big price I like, which is Mr. Rock for Jim Goldie. It was a little bit disappointing last time out when fifth behind Firefighting, who we don't really talk about that horse anymore after what happened last week. But before that, he beat a horse called Ennobled, who's been in decent form all season, and he just grounded down from way from the back, came from miles back, and won quite cosily in the end at Haydock, and albeit won by a nose, but was valued for a lot further. And the ground was just too quick for him last time out. He disappointed on good to firm ground on his first start. So any rain would be a positive tomorrow, and he steps up 2 furlongs, which should be a perfect on pedigree. And I don't say this much, but this horse is going to make a really, really nice jumps horse. All his breeding suggests he's going to make a nice jumps horse. So, but he's got a lot of class, and 40 to 1's a bit of a joke about him tomorrow. So I'd have a little bit on him each way, but Battersea's the main fancy.
Yeah, in my blog earlier on, I said that you probably will need a group horse to win a race as competitive and as high class as this. I think Battersea is exactly that. The rain is a bit of a worry. There's not a great deal around for tomorrow, so hopefully the ground won't turn too soft. What is it? It's good ground at the moment. I can't see it really getting any worse than good to soft if it changes at all, looking at weather forecasts. So I wouldn't be too worried about Battersea's participation. I think 6 to 1 is a fair enough price. 13 to 2. I think I saw even bigger early on, about 15 to 2 with Battersea. I think that's a fantastic price. Just the way he won last time out, a £10 rise wouldn't suggest that would be enough to stop him beating the likes of Guafa and Agent Murphy, who are horses that I think we all hold in fairly high regard. But the way he beat them, going away at the line, and he just looks to be improving all the time. So a group horse next year, I think, is definitely on the cards for a horse like Battersea. We had a question from Phil Dinsdale actually asking about Firefighting, but Callum's already alluded to Firefighting.
Too high in the weights now, isn't he? Surely 106, I think.
Yeah.
And also he didn't handle the dip last week. So maybe of interest on a flatter track, but not tomorrow.
If he wins tomorrow, I would not like to be the cat. Again, you're not with the cat, so the cat's safe.
Not when I get back.
That's so sinister.
Just shell up the anger and punt the cat again. I'm going to do something. One horse from last week that will have more of a chance, however, is Stetchworth, who won really nicely last week, but for me looked very immature when I think it was Adrian Nichols rode that time.
Yeah.
When he gave him a smack on the right, hung into the rails and almost went through the rails on multiple occasions. He'd have won further if he just put the whip down and pushed him hands and heels to the line. So a course like Newmarket, where he's got a lot of room to run around, unless he bags the rail, which in this kind of race it could be hard to do, I think he could be struggling. And I can see why price-wise it's gone for Stetchworth, but I don't know. In a race like this, I'm not sure. It's a competitive race, but I just think that Battersea is by far and away the best horse in the race, and he will definitely be carrying my money. But move on to the 3:30 at York, the Coral Sprint Trophy handicap over 6 furlongs. I feel the 20 have turned up this, but Callum seems to have sided with the favourite. He's very bullish about the favourite, aren't you?
Yeah, there is one at a price I actually am quite sweet on, but Etna, I just think she's a very, very good filly when she gets these conditions. And Michael Easterby has been so sweet on this horse for a long time. And obviously, he's trained some decent horses in the past, especially sprinters. And to have him grade her just as high as anything he's ever had is high words. And she won so well at York in May. Again, she won very impressively on her return at Newcastle. But that form at York sees Baccarat finish second, goes on to win at Wokingham. Blaine has won twice since. It's just such good form, and she won really cosily. So I'd be very surprised if she can't make massive inroads of a mark of 99. And on her return, she wasn't probably fully fit, and the ground was a bit too fast for her ideally. But she finished with such a rattle on the rail, and I think I'll put a spot on for this. She's got her ground, and I don't see a beat, to be honest. I think I'm being quite bullish there, and I know it's a good field, and there's horses like Mass Rally, who's well fancied, who didn't have anything go right for him the last twice on faster ground, but gets softer ground tomorrow, and won it last year. And Watchable, I think, is a nice horse of the future, but one I like at a big price, right at the bottom of the weights, is Chill with Icon for for Mick Shannon. Has also been a fan of for quite a long time. I think I backed him when he won at Epsom as a 2-year-old. But he's been really knocking on the door of late, and he won, I thought at the time, fortuitously when he won at Sandown, when it was a desperately messy race and he just got the best of runs through and won quite comfortably. But he's backed it up twice since, finishing 5th behind Muthmere in the Portland and then 7th behind High on Life at Haydock. But neither are enough of a stamina test for him. He wants around 6 furlongs and soft ground and just a mixture of that, and he didn't get either. I mean, both the 5.5 furlongs for the Portland and 5 furlongs last time just isn't enough of a stamina test for him. So I think tomorrow could be perfect for him, and I'll be surprised if he can't run really well off 94. So I like him at around 28-1. I think he's way too big on Chilworth Icon, but Etna should win.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to have to spend too much time on this race then, because I'm with Callum with Etna. At the start of this season, she really impressed me, and then things haven't really gone right. I don't know what the layoff was for. Do you know if she had an injury or anything?
No, they just kept her away from fast ground.
Yeah, that's fair. That was my next point, that she needs soft ground. Came back on good ground, the Newmarket, behind Secret Hint and Remember, who are very nice horses in their own right. Secret Hint especially, I think, have gone to bigger and better things, as I know Callum does as well. Not Goodwood, of course, though. Before that, she won a really nice race at York, a 20 runner affair, and won it in really nice style as well. So I can see actually why they just kept her away from good fast ground. So soft-ish ground tomorrow. It was soft today, and riding on the slow side. There's meant to be a bit of rain at York sort of this evening overnight, I believe. So that will keep it sort of on the slower side. So if Etna runs to form tomorrow and really builds on that comeback behind Secret Hint, I really can't see many horses in the field that get that could be capable of beating her if she's sort of on her game. I agree with Callum on Chilworth Icon as well. I just been waiting for Chilworth Icon to run in a really strongly run 6 furlong handicap that hasn't got a potential superstar in it, i.e. Muthmere. Sandown, I think, was the perfect track for him over 5, because it's a really stiff and testing 5 furlongs. And again, as Callum said, got the run of the race. It was a horrible, horrible race. If you were behind, you had absolutely no chance. If you were in front, that's where the sort of well-placed horses came, and the winner came from the Chilworth Icon. Of the rest, there's not really a huge deal that I can get excited about. Mass Rally I'd expect to go well. Ashpan Sam is beginning to descend down the weights again, but he might be a horse for next year in handicaps, especially with Kieran Schumacher's £7 claim. That's a very good jockey booking. Of the rest, there's not really a great deal I could sort of get overexcited about. Supplicant, possibly for Richard Fahey, but this race for me revolves all around Etna. And I imagine, I'm going to guess that it's going to be a clean sweep for Etna with Adam as well.
Yeah. Well, when I saw the entries, I hadn't looked at the betting. You know, she stood out straight away. Then clicked on the race. She was 7-2 favourite, and I thought, well, I can easily see why she's 7-2 favourite. And the second horse I liked in the race was Mass Rally, and he's second favourite. So, and that's before even looking at the betting. I'll talk a bit more about Mass Rally, because 2 starts ago he cruised through the race at York and was just really unlucky. He didn't get the gap. And last time out in the Egg Gold Cup, similar story. I think he's the likely one to chase Etna home. I think Etna off 99. She's got a ton of improvement on her on soft ground. And I know a few people earlier in the season were saying she was a group horse, and I would not disagree with them. She's kind of, I'm not going to say in the league of Mecca's Angel, but she's kind of that Northern Sprinter, just like her. That both won't get in the ground, and they're both going to beat next year. I'm excited about the pair of them. So I think Etna should be winning this before going on to bigger and better things next year with giving the ground.
Yeah, no, I actually do agree with that sort of weighing her up upside Mecca's Angel. Probably not the class at the moment anyway. Yeah. She's got potential to, but yeah, no, I completely get that. The big race of the day, though, however, is the Betfred Cesarovic, a handicap over 2 miles and 2 furlongs. Of course, they start in Suffolk and end in Norfolk, is it, or is it the other way around?
No, it's Cambridgeshire.
Cambridgeshire. One.
That's why there's a race called the Cambridgeshire, Luke.
Yeah, I know.
They start in Cambridgeshire and finish in Suffolk.
Right, yeah. There you go. That's the worst mistake I've ever made on the OnTheOtherHoof.
Yeah.
Right.
Norfolk.
Norfolk, yeah. It's a bloody long race. It's a bloody long race, I'll give it that. Right, well, anyway, there's 34 runners. It's competitive as always. There's been a few outsiders that won it for the last couple of years. Aim to Prosper and Scatterdice, who won it last year. What way are we leaning, Adam? More towards the market leaders, or are you going to try and get one at a price?
I'm gonna give two or three, and one's towards the front of the market. One I'd say is in the middle. One's towards the realms of fantasy prices. Basically, that's how I'll list it. The main fantasy I've had, and Callum agrees with me. Surprise, surprise. If there's rain, is Swinneymoor, who absolutely bolted up in a handicap at Chester 2 starts ago before being given one. Oh, it was a bad ride at Galway where he got trapped in on the rail, and then to make a run, he went 10 wide and wasn't beaten far by Quick Jack. And Quick Jack is a worthy favourite, but I'm not sure whether 2.25 miles around Newmarket will be his cup of tea. So Richard Hughes will have to be his very best, I think, to win on him tomorrow. Swinneymoor would be my likely winner. The other two I like. Well, this is a bit of I'm undenied about this because it's a horse I've liked for a few starts now, and if this race suits him, I think Brass Ring could easily run into a place. He could even win it because he is a good horse, but he's really quirky. He stayed every yard of a trip in the Queen Alexandra in this 2 mile too, and they're going to go quick. So this could really play to his strengths, and one at a bigger price. And the only reason I'm going for this is because he's moved yards recently. I think Sadler's Rock at a huge, about 40, 50 to 1. Graham Lee's booked for John Joe O'Neill. That combination won the Northumberland Plate with Tominator. If the rain doesn't fall, and I know for a fact that he's not going hurdling, he is staying up. This is John Joe's flat horse. I think he could run a really big race. I like the winner Swinneymoor, and those two would be one at each way prices. They're towards the top of the weights as well, and this is a race where you can, or anything can win, even to those towards the bottom of the weights that you wouldn't normally expect to pop up in these races. So, yeah, Swinneymoor's my likely winner.
Do you need anyone to give you a hand off the cliff with Brass Ring, or?
Get a small one. We'll find out tomorrow. When he wins tomorrow, I'll be absolutely fine. But if he gets stuff, you can give me a helping hand there.
Yeah, if he loses, then next week we'll run a competition on the other hoof to join me and Callum with pushing Adam off that cliff. So I think we'll get.
Oh, thanks.
We'll get record entries on that as well, actually. So.
Oh yeah, you would. Yeah, you definitely would. Oh yeah, definitely.
Run another competition to decide which cliff it is as well. So I'm going Cliff of Dover. That's local to me. For that, my team for the race. We'll get off murdering Adam now. My team for the race. I was quite bullish on Noble Silk last time, but we said the worries beforehand, and really, I sort of agreed with them, and I should have really talked myself out of it. That Chester wasn't really the right track. The trip was too short. I was hoping they were going to kick on with Noble Silk last time. That did not happen, and he finished well behind Big Orange, who has since gone in again, won a nice race at Ascot, and finished behind Whiplash Willie, who has since would have ran a good race in the Kidran at Longchamp last week.
Let's not talk about that.
But as Adam found out, didn't really go to plan, and he didn't get a run on the rail at all. Probably should have switched that wide, but we won't mention too much about that. But I don't know. Just that race at Chester wasn't to suit Noble Silk at all. Before that, it's been in good form for the whole season. Finished behind Van Persie and Havana Cooler at Goodwood, and staying on, was denied a run at the right time. So a return to this kind of trip and this kind of ground, I can see being right up Noble Silk's street. I remember Frankie a few years ago riding an absolute peach in this race on the horse. I cannot remember his name now.
Never Can Tell.
Who was it?
Never Can Tell.
Yeah, that
one from the widest draw, isn't it?
Yeah, and came up the centre of the track as well, and he was the only one to do it. So that, in a sense, if Frankie's on his day, then that could be a bonus. Obviously, he gave Olympic Glory an absolute peach last week at Longchamp, so hopefully he's in that same vein of form. The second one I'm going to put up is Ray Ward, who I was really disappointed he didn't win the trial last time out behind CNBC, and he just never really sort of went through this challenge. Before that, at Goodwood, he came there travelling really well and finished behind Teak, so dubious about his staying ability, which isn't really a strong point in this race, but he does look like a really classy individual. So if Ray Ward can put his best foot forward and he can confirm that he actually stays, he'd have a huge chance of a mark of 93 tomorrow. However, like I say, tentative about his sort of stamina attributes, but Noble Silk ahead of Ray Ward for me. As for the rest, I agree with Adam Swinneymoor, who's been sort of knocking on the door of maybe becoming a high-class handicap flat horse, possibly even more. But Noble Silk for me. Callum, your fancy Minister Zarevich?
Well, I just mentioned Ray Ward, so might start with him. I wouldn't be worried about him staying. I mean, he stayed Team R5 really well at Goodwood. It's just that he does all his work on the
Yeah,
bridle, doesn't he? That's the
yeah,
problem. You know, he
yeah.
travels so well in his races and then just plods on at the same pace. So, but I mean, a strongly run handicap like this, if the ground stays good, because he has to have fast ground, then I think he's got to go in with a chance. But there's a lot you can give chances to. I think the favourite, I haven't really given much of a mention, Quick Jack, but he fully deserves to be favourite, and I think he's got a massive chance tomorrow. I can't find any negatives about him. That trial I think was fairly strong, but there's horses maybe that were a little less fit. I think Ray Ward, who hadn't run since July, might improve for it, and I definitely think that Mubaratsa will. I'm not keen enough to go for him. Bar that Swinnemore, if the ground softened, if it was real soft ground, I'd have been so sweet on Swinnemore, but because I think he wants softer ground. Teak maybe is overpriced considering the form the horse is in, and I mean it's won since has won has won a handicap as well, beating CNBC who won that trial. So that's strong form. I'm only going to put one up actually at a massive price because I just think it's too big, and I've been waiting for this horse over a big trip for quite a while. It's Deb. First time Hood has struggled to settle at times, so I think a first time Hood will hopefully make a difference tomorrow in a big field. But she by Yuichi Fukunaga at the Shergar Cup meeting in a slowly run race and finished with real gusto, and since then finished fourth behind Nautilus in a good handicap at Newmarket. Again, just got too far back and ran on, and disappointing last time, but that was a Group 2. I think the marathon trip might just bring out a little bit more, and it did last year with Scatter Dice, and it's a very, very similar type, Deb, and again, never 3 years ago. So I just think she's worth a squeak at 50 to 1, and definitely worth a second look if you hadn't looked at her before, because she's got the form in the book, and in a race I don't think there's any I think Quick Jack's probably a standout, but Deb, you know, I think she should run well, and it's quite big at 50, so hopefully for another massive price winner, this is Arich, and she can get ahead in front.
Yeah, that's fair enough. There's been enough big priced winners in the past couple of years. I think both 66 to 1 actually.
Can I make one more point about this race?
Yeah.
Dual purpose horses have an unbelievably good record in this race. If you look at the recent winners, you got like Detroit City, Leg Spinner, Caracciolo. So dual purpose horses. Bet. Yeah, Leg Spinner, your first ever bet. Well done.
Yeah.
Shame it went downhill after that, eh?
Never backed it again.
I think it would after that. So.
To be fair, though, you say that, but I mean, in recent years, a lot of them have just been predominantly flat performers, haven't they? And also the jumps trainers. Well, I mean, Henderson won it in 2008, but since then it's gone to Simcock, Meehan, Osborne, Meehan, and Johnston. You know, so.
Also going to say, Landing Light is another one I remember who was drawn in stall 36 for Pat Edry. So if you're in the car park, it's not really a disadvantage really, because he came for the fastest strip of ground up the Stand Rail. So. I'm not sure about drawing this race. It can be an advantage or a disadvantage, but other years it's proven that you could be drawn anywhere and win the race. So
depends where you want to run. Depends.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want a front run, it's better to be low, high.
The spinning more can be held up, so 34 shouldn't be an issue really. I think about it now. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be too put off of it. There's a lot of time to sort of overcome it anyway, even if you do bolt it up from the start. But yeah, no,
like Scatter Dice.
Like Scatter Dice, yeah, like Scatter Dice completely. Very quickly, before we go on to questions, I just wanted to touch very quickly on Chepstow tomorrow. Your view on Southfield Theatre, Adam, chasing for the first time?
If he's fit, he should win. I think he's the best horse. I mean, Colour Squadron's not going to run. Well, Broadway Buffalo, me and Callum were talking about off air. His chase debut. Oh my! Go watch it if you've not seen it. It's hair raising to say the least. Southfield Theatre. If you look at the last three winners of the race, you've got Q Card who won it. You've got Border Success who won it, and Fingal Bay who also won it as well. And Border Success and Q Card's ratings are, I mean, Border was top rated 2 mile chaser, so Southfield Theatre has the potential to reach the highest level of offences, and Nichols ran Silvaniaco Conti in the race as well. So he's got potential to go very far over fences, and he should be winning tomorrow.
Yeah, no, again, I completely agree with you. If he's fit, he wins, is my sort of line. Nichols did put out a warning on all his runners that then he's not going to get them ready first time, and they're not going to be winning straight away. If they do, then great, but he did put out a warning today. And I'm signing with the Paul Nicholls horse in the next as well, and Dormello Mo in the 420, who I saw win really impressively at Sandown last year, but then at Newbury, didn't sort of took on the older horses, and it was a slowly run affair, didn't really suit. So I'm willing to give Dormello Mo another chance. The one other race I wanted to touch on was the 5:30, which I imagine will get Jumps fans absolutely raving about this. This is sort of the Jumps is back kind of race. We got going down the card: Rebel Rebellion, Carruthers, Twirling Magnet, Monbeg Dude, Forgotten Gold, Highland Lodge, Ben Benz, Victor Serenade, Night Alliance, Gasline Boy, the Italian Yob, Handy Andy, Delabec, Cloud Bob, and Trafalgar. Pick your one out of them ones, that Adam.
If Night Alliance is ready, I think Darryl Jacobs is interested in booking. And what's the title, Callum, for is it Sir? What's it? Sir Dr. Richard Newland.
His Royal Highness Sir
That's
Dr.
it.
Richard Newland.
There we go.
OBE.
I think OBE as well, yeah. And everything. He has every accolade going.
Yeah.
I think he could be a big price if he's ready, and that's what I think we're going to be saying in the next month when we get onto Jumps race, and it will be if they're ready. Night Alliance is one. The other one I think that will be ready and he is the favourite is Highland Lodge, and I just think I'd want softer ground for him, but I think he'll be ready, and if he goes from the front, he could be a likely winner. But if Night Alliance is ready, I think he could be a big price.
Yeah, I agree with Highland Lodge. I think it was Harry Phillips of Betfair put this up earlier on. His form before Christmas was absolutely outstanding. Afterwards, not so much. So
Yeah.
Highland Lodge, I can get why he's 11-4 favourite. Trafalgar, I think, would be one to stick with. Last time, I thought he was going to be ready last time because he won off the back of a massive break, but Dan Skelton didn't have him fully wound up last time, so should be much better this time out. He's a big horse, he's got 10 stone on his back, so he won't even know Harry Skelton's there. Plus, the Yard are in fantastic form, so 9-1, I can see Trafalgar really stamping his case on this race on sort of softer ground, and his jumping is really his main asset, so around Chepstow that will help. Callum, I don't suppose there's much point in coming to you for Chepstow tomorrow?
No. No, Highland Lodge is a horse I've followed. Well, he's been on my radar for ages, but consistently is a favourite. It's so short in the market. I mean, I'm just looking at its stats. It's been beaten in the past as favourite at 5-6. It's been beaten 130, 6-5, 9-4, 6-4 favourite, 6-1 in the Hennessy, 13-2 in the Welsh National, 9-4, and 11-2. Now, you're backing that 11-4. You're nuts.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I didn't realize it went off 6-4 in a Hennessy. That's a ridiculous.
No,
6-1.
6-1.
6-1. Sorry, not 6-4. 6-1. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I don't even think Denman went off 6-4 in a Hennessy, so...
No.
Yeah.
That's because he was carrying about 15 stone 5, wasn't he, or something like that.
I could still beat them, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
What a horse. What a horse.
That's for another day.
Team
Question time. Phil Dinsdale comes in first. Really like Fat Soda tomorrow, guys. Thoughts, please.
Where's he running?
First Flight wins that race.
Oh yeah, First Flight wins that race hands down.
Yeah, he'll like the ground, but Fat Soda needs it bottomless, basically. I just don't think he's well handicapped enough now. Had his win early in the season in what was a very weak race unfortunately behind the ill-fated Wigmore Hall, but not how handicapped anymore.
Yeah, Richie Stewart in next. What do you guys think about Communicator and Cesarovic? Reckon he's going to run a huge race myself. I think if anyone is sort of as clued up to answer a question on Communicator, I think I've got this one, guys, if you don't mind. Communicator is...
That's fine.
In the nicest possible way, a bit of disappointment on many occasions. I've thought he's been ready to run huge races on so many different sort of times of the year, everything, and he just hasn't come together. He ran a brilliant race, I think, on Shergold Cup Day, but a bit of me says it was a bad ride, a bit of me says he's quirky, and I think it was Adri de Vries took the road that day and wanted to sort of weave him in, keep him interested between horses. Now, if that is the case, the Cesarovic could be the perfect race for him. However, that brings in sort of staying ability. I don't think he's ever gone this far before, so it's a risk. I still maintain he's a very good horse, but he may just have a few quirks about him. He may have a bit of sort of a mind of his own. So I tread carefully with Communicator tomorrow. I'm not saying he's not going to run a big race, but he does seem to disappoint a bit more than he sort of puts his best foot forward. I think I've got that pretty much nailed down.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing else to add on to that?
No.
Although,
it's your horse, it's your cliff horse, so...
I do hope that Communicator goes back over hurdles. I will say that. I think he's got a lot of scope in that area. He ran a brilliant race on his only start in novice company at Newbury. So we'll say that. I think it was behind Big Hands Harry as well. Jamie Brownlow comes in. Hi chaps, Late Night Request is running tomorrow. If you don't know, guys, Jamie Brownlow actually owns a share in Late Night Request with Midland Park. Late Night Request is running tomorrow in a 3:10 at Newmarket. Tough race for her, and it's a higher class. Hoping for a good run. Put a line through the Chester race. It's not her run, and she's also run at Chester before, but it's first time at Newmarket, and she's 40-1. It is a really tough race, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. If it absolutely chucks it down, I'd give her an each race week. But it's a monsoon tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, but like as we say, best of luck with Late Night Request tomorrow, Jamie. Have a great day out if you're attending, but don't get too downbeat. It's a very, very tough race, and I think we're all with Battersea in that. But best of luck, as we say. Derek Gamblepun in next. Brilliant. I really hope that's his name. Really hope that. Can you each give us one 2-year-old colt and one 2-year-old filly to look out for next year? Callum, should we start with you on that?
I've got lots, but I'm a couple under the radar, I think, so far. I've shown a high standard, but I think under the radar. One is Cody Bear, who runs hopefully in the Dewhurst next week. Yeah, next week. Yeah. Really like this horse. Just don't think it's been given enough credit, to be honest. And eye-catching in the Coventry, went 6th, won well at Ascot last time out over 7, and I think he's got a big future. And I know Clive Cox rates him highly. Filly, Marsh Hawk of Richard Hannon's, who has won so impressively in two of the 3 starts, beaten by New Providence at... Is it New Providence's? I always get them mixed up. Providence Spirit, can't remember. It's one of them. At Salisbury on faster ground, but was probably the trip that day
that's New Providence. New Providence.
Yeah. Over 7, she's impressed both times, and well, she actually beat a horse that's rated higher than her on debut in Fadail. So I think she could be a classic filly next year, definitely. So they're the 2 for me: Marshall as a filly and Cody Bear for the colt.
Yeah, Cody Bear has been underrated unless you tuned into the Dubai Racing Channel on King George Day at Ascot when this guy was talking up Cody Bear. Adam, your 2-year-old colt and 2-year-old filly to follow next year.
I'm like Callum, I've got lots this year. This time last year, if you'd have asked me that question, I'd have said, what on earth over this year? I've got so many. I'll give you the filly first. It's a horse that ran the other day, actually, at Kempton, a horse called Yarrow, trained by Sir Michael Stout. Has got a lovely pedigree, and she's related to really good performers in Golan and Tartan Bearer, and I think she'll go a long way. She's in the right hands, and I just think she'll improve a lot. A colt, I don't know whether to go really left field and find a handicapper, or do I just go with a horse I actually quite like for the Derby, which is a horse called White Lake, who won on debut at York, and then I think 7 Furlongs wasn't his trip at Doncaster, but he is the most gorgeous individual. If you ever get a chance, if you ever go racing and he's there, go and see him in the paddock, because he is an unbelievably good looker, and I fancy him. Once he goes up in trip next year, he will win some good races, I think, next year. I have got lots of handicappers as well, but they'll come in next year's flat preview, which will be in about 5 months' time, 6 months' time.
In which Callum is already counting the days to. Coincidentally, our jumps preview will be coming.
No, because Maidan be over.
Oh.
Jumps preview is coming in the next 2 weeks, I imagine. We need to sort that.
Yeah.
If you sort of come back to our Twitter page, then we will update you on that sort of as and when we sort of arranged the date. We're looking to get George Gorman back on as well. He hasn't been on for a while, but we will be hoping that he can join us, because last year he put up a few decent horses, to say the least.
Andy's ridden a winner since last time as well. He rode a winner You beat AP McCoy in a race, so we have to mention that as
Hey.
well.
Come there cruising on the outside of Sam Twist and Davis, who's working overtime.
Yeah.
My 2-year-old colt to follow is a more of a left field one with Flyball, who was with Richard Hannon. I don't know for sure. I haven't been able to sort of find this on such short notice, but I think he's gone to Alan McKay. I think. But Richard Hannon, he was a Midland Park horse, but he's just been campaigned idiotically, really. Nothing about the way he ran suggested he was a 5-furlong horse. Yet all his runs, I think bar one, came over 5 furlongs. His breeding suggests he's more a 7-furlong mile horse. Now, he always travelled okay, got a bit outpaced, dropped back, plugged on again. So you'd think, step him up to 6, 7, maybe a bit more. And then I think it was in maybe the super... No, it was a big race at Newry. It might have been a super sprint, but stepped up to 6. It wasn't a super sprint, but travelled really well until a later stage, got a bit more outpaced. So over 7 furlongs a mile next season, make a really nice handicapper. And I'd keep Flyball on side. And Anthem Alexander is one that me and Callum have debated. We both rate Anthem Alexander really highly as a sort of 2-year-old filly. We'll rate him as a 3-year-old filly next year as well, but only over 5 furlongs. I think she could be a really top-class sprinter. I really wanted to stay away from 6 furlong trips. I don't think she's as good over that. 5 furlongs, I think, absolutely perfect for her. However, so they're my 2 for next season. You can tweet in yours. You've still got time to tweet in some 2-year-olds to follow next season, progressing into 3-year-olds, of course. Chris Heath, chances of Teak and Sadler's Rock and the Cesarevich, in addition to Watchable in the 3:30 at York. I think we all agreed that Etna should really win the 3:30 at York, didn't we?
Yeah.
And
Watchable's a nice horse, though.
yeah,
it is.
A lot.
You sort of said next season, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I just think he needs a bit more time, but you can excuse that last run. He won quite nicely over an island, so I think he's going to make a group horse next year.
Yeah, and Adam, you actually gave a mention to Sadler's Rock, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And also on Teak as well. Teak's in the form of his life as well, so it wouldn't shock me if he ran well, but he needs good ground. So they both need good ground, actually. So if it rains tomorrow, I'd avoid the pair of them. So, yeah. If Teak won tomorrow, I would not be surprised, but I just think that he's come to the end of his winning spree, and that's not me being harsh on the horse, because I think he's an unbelievably good summer. We saw him win at Goodwood, and then I was at Cartmel the next time he won. So yeah, lovely horse, great money spent for them. So they've had a lot of fun with him this summer.
Yeah, Jamie Brownlow fancies in the 150 at York each way on Examiner. I think Adam, you fancied Examiner each way as well, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I did. I said that forget the Chester run, basically. I think on a more conventional track, he'd have an each way squeak tomorrow. But I think the 2 we mentioned, Lacan and got the name of the other one.
Indy.
Lacan's your likely winner. Yes, the one. Yeah, Indy. Thought of
Um,
I don't know why, but I thought of Idea then, and Idea definitely doesn't run in Indy's colours, so did begin with an I. So.
Nice. Wobia has come in, sort of wanting an anti-post sort of view on the jump season. Completely different subject here. Any horses you like for the Paddy Power Gold Cup and Hennessy, even this far back? I'll take the start. In the Paddy Power, I think Present View is still well handicapped, I think. Whether he's well handicapped enough to win a Paddy Power, I'm not sure. But Takan de Searle is one that I followed quite religiously. And he's in the Paddy Power, but today was given sort of just a prep run. He wasn't out to win whatsoever. The market suggested that. If he gets more of a price, I think he's about 7 to 1 at the moment for the Paddy Power, and softer ground, he could be lethal. However, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on Takan de Searle. And for the Hennessy, if Jacadam gets a low weight with Bobsworth in there, then I think Jacadam could absolutely hose up in the Hennessy. I think he's so well handicapped at the moment. He's very young. The only worry is that he comes there as possibly a year too early, but he's a Gold Cup winner in the future without doubt for me. Adam did not agree with any of that, apparently. So Adam,
I shook my head. I shook my head at the Takan de Soy bit. I don't think a 20-runner handicap round Cheltenham will be his cup of tea, if I'm perfectly honest. Present View, on the other hand, I agree with, and Jamie Snowden actually thinks if he progresses well enough, he could potentially be a Gold Cup horse, which made me raise my eyebrows. But if he is a Gold Cup horse, then he is very well handicapped. Yeah. And I think he'd be one at the moment in mind for the Paddy Power. I'd like to see the entries. Although the market made me raise my eyebrows when you've got Oscar Whiskey as joint favourite with Pandasoy, and they're two horses that I have not liked over fences. So yeah, the Hennessy. Well, I did like a Phelan's Boy, and now he's probably out for the season, which I'm really not happy about. So my selection is at the moment would be Smad Place. If he goes there fresh, I think he's got a huge chance. He jumps well. I think Newbury will suit him really well. He's won at Newbury as well, where he beat Sam Winner on really soft ground. Ground isn't an issue for him. I really am sweet on Smad Place for the Hennessy, but don't back him on Betfair yet, where I think he's 2.1. I think majority of the field are. I think Cantlow was like 6.7. Talking of anti-post fancies, I'll give you Cantlow for a race later in the jump preview. I'll give you Cantlow for a race.
Great.
I think it's hilarious. So
it's just a stupid shout. Callum.
When it wins.
Yeah. If he wins, then nothing else is up. Callum, the Paddy Power and Hennessy, if you've got any each way.
Pendra wins both.
Doing a celestial gold there. It.
No, to be fair, last year at Cheltenham, the race that really made me realise that you have to have a horse that's about Stonewall handicap to win a Cheltenham handicap was that race that Pendra ran in when third behind Present View, and I really like Present View as well. I just really like that form in general. So those two for the Paddy Power. I think maybe Pendra might have his aim as the United House Gold Cup at Ascot. Well, I know that's likely to be the aim. Hennessy, Fingal Bay, a horse I like. Again, I don't know, but I can't predict the Hennessy at all. I don't even know what I have a clue what's going to be running in it. So, but the Paddy Power I would like both of those from the Cheltenham race in March.
Yes, fair enough. Back onto questions about tomorrow's racing. Jamie Brownlow, 3:30 at York, likes fast shots each way. Finished 5th at Ayr last time. Ground to suit an otherwise kid with Adam Kirby as well. And he's also on Noble Silk in the Cesarewitz as well with Moidor. Chris Heath, we've already answered that question, Chris Heath. He's gone down. As for the others, we haven't got that many more questions in. As opposed to the rain, apparently it's
we have.
supposed
We've got one more question. Josh Pearson asks, what wins the ultra competitive 505 at Newmarket?
Oh, I like one at a price in that.
Of course we do.
Parsley. Massive. Huge
1 to
price.
12. 1 to 12.
I'll be surprised if he doesn't win easy.
Yeah. Well, it's Hughes versus Ryan Hall, so yeah, if Parsley's not winning that, then there's something wrong. Look at it's a £31 difference.
You'd be annoyed if you had Parsley in your play spot. Actually, it might not be a play spot, but race to be fair. But no, it's the last race in the play spot.
Yeah.
So
if you get
you stick Parsley in
leg,
as your banker, and it gets beat, that'd be funny.
I don't know that jockey booking though is Ryan Moore a £31 better jockey than Richard Hughes?
It's just another match race, isn't it? Ryan Moore and Richard Hughes.
To be fair, there was a match race at Salisbury last week, and Richard Hughes won that. So yeah. Good race.
Good question. Good question.
Race of the day.
Good question. I think that's a decent question to end it on. Derek has tweeted our 2-year-olds to follow, and we've answered that question from Josh Pearson. So the only thing left is for our naps. Now, I'm arguing that my run still continues because it was obviously a video that we did Saturday night.
No. Callum said no as well.
Of course, Callum says no.
That's like saying that. Manchester United. No, I wouldn't use Manchester United, but Chelsea keep their unbeaten run because they lost on a Wednesday night. No.
I think that's valid. Fine, the run is gone, and the run of naps on the other hoof stands at 6, which I'm proud of. But we'll start again tomorrow. Callum, your nap for tomorrow is.
I'll just go for Etna. It's gonna be boring. Can't be asked to find anything.
That's fair enough. Plus, your record of naps is not great, is it?
No, it's awful.
Yeah. Someone whose naps record is probably even worse is Adam, though. Adam, your nap for tomorrow?
Parsley. No, I'm kidding. Lacan will be the nap at York.
Lacan. Oh, fair enough.
If Michael was here,
I
though, it would be Parsley.
yeah, he would be, wouldn't it? I'm going for
Yeah,
first
top
flight.
tug. He'll go for top tug.
He would,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
he would actually. I'll go for first flight in a 220 at York. If he doesn't win, I'd be gutted tomorrow in earnest. But that's all we've got time for on the show this week. We're back next Friday around 8 p.m, aren't we? There's no midweek meetings that I've missed out.
Right.
Oh, actually, we could be doing. Would we be doing Future Champions Day potentially?
We'll see how good the card is.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. Yeah.
We'll keep you posted whether there's the Thursday night video next week on Twitter at OnTheOtherHoof. You can follow us if you don't already. Besides that, thank you for tuning in today. You can follow us or subscribe to us on YouTube by clicking around this box. That way you'll get told about every video that we do, and when we do it, you can watch it live, you can watch it as a replay, and you can also comment underneath in the comment box below. Leave your views for today and leave your fancies, and we will try and get back to you. But until next week, from everyone here at On The Other Hoof, have a good weekend. Goodbye.